and he was in his element. He was in his element playing the Knight Rider. Who else could have been the Knight Rider?
No.
Michael Knight was David Hasselhoff. David is bigger than life. Everything is bigger than life. And he made him the beloved character that the fans still love today.
My guest today, she is a wonderfully talented performer. She not only is an acclaimed singer, but we also know her from her many, many, many TV and film roles, including April Curtis from the 80s classic Knight Rider. Time to say hello to Rebecca Holden. Rebecca, welcome to Comic Book Central.
Joe. Hi, Joe. And hello to all your listeners and viewers and fans. I'm excited to be talking to you today.
It's so cool because as we're watching, like I'm watching this and I see you there, and I'm transported back in time to this, like the best TV shows ever, because it was always like, oh, Rebecca Holden's on my TV. This is gonna be a good episode. Because you were in like everything. It was like that was. We'll talk about it all, but this is real life, so it doesn't get any better than this.
How sweet of you to say that. I feel very blessed. I worked a lot, and I continued to work, and I got to work with wonderful people and great directors and great actors, and doing comedy as well as episodic. So it was never boring. That's for sure. Life was fun and exciting.
You did everything. Like I'm sitting there like streaming shows, and I'll be on my phone. I'm like, well, I'm going to watch a Love Boat because that's what I do. Because I'm old and I love 70s TV, and I'm like, I'm going to watch a Love Boat. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh man, Rebecca Holden's on it. And you haven't changed. That's the weird part. Like we all got older, and you haven't. What is your secret? How do you do this?
I don't know. I guess I love life, and so I try to take care of myself as well as I can. I exercise every day and take a lot of supplements and yeah.
That's it. The exercise. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I don't do that. Yeah. I don't eat well and I don't exercise. I think we figured it out. I just watched The Love Boat the other day, like a couple days ago. I'm like, she looks exactly the same. How does this happen?
Thank you. I actually did 2 Love Boats for Aaron Spelling.
I know. We're going to talk about it. I know. You and Bernie Capel. I know. We're going to talk about that. I got to get to it because they did that back in the day. Well, we'll talk about it. I'll get there. So much to talk about today, including your famous series I mentioned, Knight Rider. So if you're watching the YouTube version, I got the 4. It's on 4K. I don't even know.
That's the new thing. Universal selected Knight Rider as their very first season, their very first series, their very first TV series to put out in a box set, 4K. And there's also a documentary on it, in which a lot of the cast members, but a lot of the production people, a lot of the people behind the scenes, Don Peake, who did the music, Michael Chaffee, who of course designed KITT. I'm in the documentary. They questioned me a long time, and it's a great documentary and a great set. So I'm anxious.
That's the documentary is Knight Rider Behind the Wheel. So that's one of the extras, all new. 1 hour documentary, and that's what I love about it, because like look, we love the Hoff. We love all that. We love Mohair, like all that. We love KITT, but it's like you get to see, because you only had 1 season, so it's like we get to dig into your character a little bit, which is really cool. And then it's like the stunts, and we'll talk about the show, but it's like we always love the stunts. I'm watching these things. I'm blown away because we get to see all the stuff that we did. Because on the show, KITT takes off and then he lands perfectly every time. But then we get to see all the wrecked kits.
The behind the scenes reality, right? Yeah, and what all went into that.
KITT always did like a lawn dart. He was like always doing a nosedive, and then all of a sudden he balances out perfectly. It's like no, they went through. It's so cool. And you as your character April, she got to put him back all together again. Kind of. I mean, Do you know any mechanics?
The magic of television.
Yeah. Can you change oil in your car? Can you do any of that?
No, I cannot. I don't do any of that, and I'm also not a computer expert either. They call it acting.
But you play one on TV. You played it so well. Those are glasses, right?
Yes, and in fact, the very first meeting I had with the Knight Rider bunch, the team, the producers, I had worked so much at Universal and at NBC, and they all knew my work. And when the role came up, they just called my agent and said, "Could she just come in? We just want to see her with David and the chemistry, and let them, read a scene to her together. And so we did, and we just had a ball, and we were laughing. And he said, we'd like for her to really look like a computer expert, not so glamorous. So I went to my own purse, pulled out my glasses, put them on, and they went, that's it. So then April was born, and she wore glasses in every episode, I think.
But that cracks me up because I think they brought you in because look, let's call it what it is. Back in the day, man, like you were on every TV show and it was always like, this hot chick coming in and then you get the hair and everything. And it's just like you come in and then all of a sudden it's like they want you to nerd it up and do all that. I'm like, why would you get Rebecca Holden for that? She doesn't. You ain't no nerd. Like you're like the furthest away from a nerd you could be.
Well, I think what I loved about playing April, glamour and all of that aside, and she did get to dress up in a few episodes. Yeah.
Oh, there was one on like a ballroom gown, like a kind of thing in the dance. Yeah, right.
With Devin. But she was not only brilliantly smart, obviously, but the integrity and the character and the camaraderie with her colleagues and her loyalty and it was the character thing that I loved about her, that was, and I think that was really the essence of Knight Rider in general. Glenn Larson, who was the creator of the show.
Oh, the late great. Yep.
We lost him a while back, and I was privileged to do the eulogy at his funeral.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. He and his wife, Jeannie, became very good friends. She has now passed away as well. But they were so lovely. And Glenn said, Rebecca, I created a morality play. That's what Knight Rider is. Good versus evil, and the good guys always win. And it was, so clear, and those morality lines were so definite. And I hear the most wonderful stories, at the fan events, how that resonated with the fans, especially. And now they're having children of their own and watching Knight Rider together, and so new generations, and they're saying we're teaching them those same values by watching the show together, and it inspires conversation and family discussions, and what a wonderful legacy that is.
I think that's why I'm still so attracted. Well, I'm not nostalgic. I mean, anybody watching the video can see, my whole, the whole layer here is nostalgia. But it's like, I think that's what I love about the shows from like the 60s, 70s, 80s. It's like good guys always won.
Yes.
Good guys always won. You knew the good guy was always, you just didn't know how they were going to win, but it was cool watching it. And then, sometimes you get a jumping flying car. But then like today, everything's so like morally ambiguous.
Blurry. Yes.
Yeah,
the lines have become blurred, and I think people, we yearn in these complicated days. We yearn for simpler times, and I think children felt safe and secure in an environment where they knew where the lines were, and it helped parents reinforce those same values by watching these television shows together. And I think that's why that shows like Knight Rider are still so popular even today. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I guess today, all over the world, people are still watching this show.
That's the thing. And now it's getting another generation with the 4K. And it's like, I think that's the thing is that maybe today's TV is more realistic and maybe it reflects actual life. But honest to Pete, like we live real life and it's horrible sometimes.
We get enough of it.
Escapism. I know if I turn it on TV, I want 1 hour, I want credits roll, and I feel good. So that's what Knight Rider gave us. Well, we'll talk about it.
And we want to be inspired. We want to reach for higher things than we live. That's what we aspire to every day. And entertainment, if they can also do that, it's a real special thing.
What was the tagline for the show? Is it one man can make a difference? I think, right? Was that
the whole thing? You got it.
That was the whole thing. It was like, you could just do it. Yeah, if you can do it, go do it. I mean, we don't all look like the Hoff, but who does? We can still make a difference. Did you do a rewatch? Did you do a rewatch on this? Like, did you go?
I haven't.
Oh, okay. So you were just memories. You remembered everything. Wow.
Well, I get asked and reminded by fans all the time. And,
That's fair.
I
That's
go to
fair.
fan events all over the world. They have these autograph shows, of course, the Comic
Yeah.
Cons and Knight Rider special events, because there are Knight Rider fan clubs all over the world. I've been to Istanbul, to Mexico City, to Milan, to the UK. I mean, they're everywhere. There's a huge one in Atlanta every year that draws people from Japan, Brazil, Denmark. It's amazing because all the fans meet online, they become friends, and then they go and attend these events in person and meet in person, and all these friendships are forged. And that's a real special thing to be a part of.
I think as we're recording this, I think you just got back from one. Is that the Atlanta one that you just did a few weeks
Yes,
ago or something?
Atlanta was recently.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Did that surprise you? Because so many actors I talk to, when they're in the moment, when they're filming, I mean, you're going great guns. I mean, you don't get to see anything. And then it's like all these years later, you get to meet the fans. Did that surprise you how much this show and your character resonated with
Well, of course.
people? Yeah.
Of course, because when you're on set, you're enjoying your work, you love what you do, you love your friends and all the people on the crew and the cast, and you're a team, and there's that wonderful side of it. But you have no idea when you put that out into the ether what's going to happen on the other end, how it's going to connect with people, if it's going to resonate. So who would have ever thought in a million years that all these years later there would still be fans all over the world attending these events, but not only that, building replicas of the KITT car. In the UK, there were 30 KITT cars in a parade.
Wow.
Michael Chaffee, who designed KITT, and he's a lovely, most wonderful guy. You would love him. Everybody does. But he'll do a PowerPoint presentation that will go on and on and on. I'll finally go back to my hotel room. The next morning, I come down for breakfast. They're all still sitting there. They've been quizzing him all night long about the KITT car.
We nerds are passionate. We nerds are passionate. Yeah.
So you asked me, is it amazing? Yes, it's completely amazing. Now, who would have ever thought that there are two guys in Mexico City, and I think another guy in Italy, their entire business is making KITT car parts.
Wow.
One guy does like all the fiberglass parts. The other guy does all the wiring and the lights and for the dash, and they ship them all over the world.
Wow.
Now, who would thought there would be enough business for that?
Right. Well, and that's the passion. That's the nostalgia coming back. We all love this. I mean, look, now you're getting a glimpse of nerd world, so that's what we do. But like, if they did another one, like, would you come back as you would come back as April, right? Yeah.
All they would have to do is give me a call.
Absolutely. Okay, so we know that. So that's good there.
No question. Well, actually, I have to tell you, in Istanbul.
Oh, announcement! Can we make an announcement?
Well, there's a fan in Istanbul who has his own KITT car. He watched Knight Rider with his mom growing up, and they bonded over that show. When she passed away of cancer, he did a whole production around his KITT car, invited me there. I was in the production. I mean, they had the green screens, they had the stunts, it was decked out.
He did like a fan film. It was like a little fan film or something that they did. And you did April?
And and all the proceeds that they did over there, went to the cancer research, and it was a lovely way to pay tribute to his mother.
Can we see that somewhere? Can we see it somewhere?
Just go online and find the fans in Istanbul. Yes, I could connect you with them.
Yeah. Do that. I want to see it. People. Oh man, I love that you did that. Okay, look, before we talk about we've already done it, but before we get to some of these iconic shows, I want to go back, and find out what inspired you to pursue a career in entertainment, starting from your modeling as the Breck girl. You still have the hair. My goodness, like how does that even possible? And then your musical training in New York. Can you talk about like that era and what inspired you?
I grew up in Texas. I was a nerd. I was.
Okay. You were one.
wore glasses from the second grade, was a straight A student, if my mother ever wanted to find me, I was probably in a tree with an apple and a book somewhere. I studied piano, classical piano, from the time I was 7. Music was my life. I was in all the musicals, played the leads in all the musicals, sang in concert choir, madrigal singers, accompanied for all the, played piano for all the people who were auditioning for All-State Band, All-State Orchestra. Never had any goal of anything but music. That was my focus. I was not a little girl who dreamed of going to Hollywood and seeking fame and fortune as an actress. That was not in my purview. You know, that was not in my realm of even consideration. But when I was in New York, continuing with my music studies, voice and piano, I was discovered by an agent who said, you have to go on this audition, and I was put under contract for Breck Shampoo, as you mentioned, and did all their commercials and print work, and that led to lots of other commercials, Ivory Soap, and Dentine, and Kellogg's, and Chevrolet, and lots of commercials. Aaron Spelling saw one of those that aired on the Super Bowl, contacted my agent and had me sent out to the West Coast, and I started working in episodic television. Who knew? It was never my game plan, but I sure have enjoyed the ride. And I worked at every studio in town, and I seemed to have a flair for comedy, so I got cast in all of the sitcoms, and those were so fun because they were like doing a live play. You know, right. You did them before a live audience, and then they'd change the audience, turn it over, and then you do it again. And so you blocked a whole week, and then did the live audience on tape night. But those were so fun, except for Barney Miller with Danny Arnold as director. We he did that like a one camera shoot. But the episodic, I think, Joe, with the discipline that I grew up with having to practice my piano and voice and, you know, maintain my grades and all that, and I had my parents instilled in me a real work ethic. So even though this was not a career I had envisioned, if I was going to do it, I was going to do it well. And you come prepared, you perfect your craft, you pursue excellence, you do your homework, you show up, and you're ready to deliver. And then you must remember that any kind of film production, any kind of movie or television, it's a very collaborative effort. So you show up prepared to be flexible, go where the director wants to take you, because it's his vision that's on the screen. So that spirit of cooperation among everybody, making their job easy, because you do your part and you're ready to deliver what they need. Time is money, so there's no wasting time, especially in television. You got a lot of setups to get to in a day. Yeah, and so I just continued to work, and I feel very blessed that I had the great opportunity to do so.
Well, what do you think it was about that time? Because here's a list. I mean, this is like my entire childhood here. So Three's Company, Happy Days, Magnum PI, classic episode of Magnum PI, Barney Miller, as you mentioned. I mean, one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. Taxi. I mean, it just get Police Squad. Sharon screen time with Leslie Nielsen, TJ Hooker with the Shat. So you got the Hoff and the Shat, both going on. Love Boat. We talked about this, I think, off camera, or was it beginning of the interview, like twice?
Yes.
You got 2 Love Boats.
I would have had 2 night courts. They wanted me to. Harry Anderson was going to direct one, and he wanted to bring me back to work with me when he became the director of it. But right. I was already booked on something else, and I couldn't do that.
Another brilliant comedy. Was it, if I'm remembering, was it like your character had amnesia?
Yes.
And like John Larroquette was like, he's a hound dog on the show. We know that. And then all of a sudden, like the punchline is you finally remember it. What's the line? Do you remember the line?
I hate your guts. I hate your guts. Once you remember, yeah.
You're Dan Fielding. Yeah. I know who you are.
That's it.
Oh, man. Seeing your face in the Love Boat opening, like that, so I know the first one it was like a more of a supporting role, like first Love Boat you had. But then like the second Love Boat, it was like this iconic episode. It was season 8. We'll talk about Knight Rider. I'll get to Knight Rider. So I know we've been talking about Knight Rider, but it's like I got to talk about Love Boat because I love Love Boat.
I can't believe you know it's season 8. I would never remember anything like that. It amazes me that you know so much trivia.
Well, but I just watched it too. So there's a little behind the scenes. Okay. There's a little inside baseball right there. It's season 8. It's the premiere. It's like a 2-hour episode. They're going to Alaska. It's an all-female cruise, right? The whole thing. And Lauren Tweez, she like had her issues and she got fired off the show. And then they bring the new cruise director in. Like, this is like a huge episode for Love Boat. And then you're on it. And then, like, do you remember anything about did you go to Alaska? Or was that all fakey fake? Because there's like a lot of shots from Alaska. Did you do anything? Because sometimes they went somewhere.
Most of the time it was at 20th Century Fox. It was on the lot. I mean, you would have never known it wasn't for real, but it was. Right. It was on the lot. But they did go on some cruises. Yes, they did.
But you didn't go to Alaska. Okay.
No, I did not.
Okay, but it was like a pajama party, and it's like all female cruise, and do you remember anything about it? Like you're with Ace and Gopher. I don't know. I know it's all blur. I know. I just watched it. I cheated. I cheated.
And the Knight Rider fans know so much more about episodes than I do. They'll want to do a whole thing about one, and they know. They know every single thing that happened in every episode, which car was doing what, and it amazes me. I really does.
I think I watched
I watched it once, right? Yeah, when it first aired, and I've never seen them again.
The Love Boat. So, do you remember like your face in the Love Boat thing at the beginning? Like, do you remember that? Like the music? Yeah, that had to be cool, right? Right.
Of course it's cool.
All right.
Let's face it, working in this industry and actually working, how many people actually make a living at show business? You know, it is a dream job. It's not one I planned on, but like I say, I sure have enjoyed the journey. You know, it's been marvelous. And the people I've met and the places I've gone, and I've traveled all over the world. And Joe, even more than that, because all of these shows are so popular in syndication, as is Knight Rider, and so many of them are. And of course, now we have streaming, so people watch them all the time. I get the most wonderful invitations to go perform and to sing and MC charity events and fundraisers and galas and keep making a difference in the world for wonderful, worthy causes. I mean, how does it get better than that?
Well, and we will talk about that too. I want to talk about your charitable work too. Sorry for fanboying out. It's just the part of me. The part of me is like interviewer, and then the other part is like the kid that was watching Love Boat all these years. So I know I'm going back in time. That. John Ritter, working with John Ritter, like, I mean, comedic genius, right?
Every script was just to set him up so he could do his thing with the physical comedy, because he was such a genius at it. He was brilliant. And I don't know if you remember my episode, he was a store mannequin. And then he sees Larry and me walking by and realizes that that's the same girl that he's been dating. They just called her different things. One of them called her Bunny and one of them called her Twinkie. So they were dating the same girl. So it was a setup to let him go crazy in the store window, you know. He was brilliant and such a nice guy. We lost him so much too soon.
That's why I say, like, you've gotten to work with the legends on here, Tom Selleck and Magnum. I mean, the episode of Magnum PI is a classic too. Any Magnum PI stories you could share?
Yeah. We were actually filming it at Christmas in Hawaii, in Honolulu, and it just kept raining, and it kept raining. And we stayed, and we stayed, and we stayed, and they were afraid that the water levels with the boat that we were on or something were going to change, and it wasn't going to work for the shooting. But we worked hard, and we finally got it in. But then Do you remember the scene where I'm crying and all that? The rain was coming down so hard on the roof that I had to loop the whole thing once we got back to LA.
Wow.
Yeah. I had to go on the looping stage because the dialogue was just, it was this roar of the rain on a tin roof.
Can you put somebody in that era of, like, there's no way you could have anticipated being on so many classic shows.
No.
And so, like, can you just put somebody in that era of what it was like to be you? Just, did you watch them when they came up? Or you like, were your family freaking out because you're on like every show ever? What was that like for you in that era?
Well, I know that my little sister, her class didn't believe her when she told. So when I was home for a holiday, I grabbed her because I was supposed to do a local interview with the paper. So I grabbed her and put her on the cover of the TV guide section with me. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
So that they would finally take her seriously.
What a show and tell. What a thing for show and tell, man.
She was proud of her sister, but
that's amazing.
It was you know what? I did watch each episode after it aired, mainly to critique myself and try to get better. It was about, I want to do a good job. This has been a gift. My whole life has been a gift. It's been a wonderful, wonderful gift. And I appreciate it so much. And I want to be worthy of that by doing my part and doing a good job for the people who trust me to come in and deliver for them. Does that make sense?
It only makes sense. I think that comes through in your work. I think that's why every time I put something on, and it's like when I was a kid, it was like, oh, it's a Rebecca Holden's in this. I think that's why I thought that, because it comes through. Look, your comedic chops were unreal, because when you could steal scenes from John Ritter, like, forget it, man. Like, that's like, I watch some of these things and I'm like, she is nailing it. It would have been so easy to just come in and it's like, play Bunny / Twinkie, right? It would have been so easy to be that, but you knew it was farce. You knew it was a different level. You knew it was a little more than what was going on.
Yeah.
And I think that comes across in all these things.
Thank you. I have to say about one comment about the comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy is all about timing. Comedy is the laugh happens if the line falls right on the beat. If the punchline falls right. And I think that's musical. I think the music and the timing fit together, and you can't. It's not something you can teach. It's just it's just gotta fall right, and when it's not. And sometimes you have to, what the writer is going for, but the timing isn't quite right, and just a syllable can change it so that it's a feeling.
No, it's amazing
but
you say
I
that.
love doing the comedy.
It's amazing you say that, because now that brings the musician part of you in, and now that makes sense because you understand that there's a timing. I interviewed actress Daphne Zuniga, who got to share some time with Michael J. Fox on screen, and they were filming something for Spin City, and he told her, that great read, but if you wait one beat before you say that, and it was a live audience, and let them react to it, then say it, that you're going to bring the house down. And they did another take, and she said it brought the house down. And it was like just that one beat.
Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing. Stage music. I want to ask that about that. And we'll talk Night Rider, I promise. Oliver and Damn Yankees.
Yeah.
And then music beyond that, just so many genres from country to gospel. How do you think your training and your versatility has informed your choices over the years with everything you've done?
Well, I'm so grateful to my parents who gave me the private lessons and the classical training, and because your technique is what carries you through. Your basic technique and how to use your instrument. Then the genre is going to determine the style. I mean, if you sang country music with an operatic styling, it would be laughable. and vice versa. It has to fit the genre. The choices a lot of times for me have been opportunities that have come my way. I love challenges, and I've done a country album and a gospel album. I love the big band era. I'm going to be performing at Vibratos, the big jazz club here in Los Angeles in November. So I love the diversity. That's just the icing on the cake.
All right, I got to get to Knight Rider. Look, it's Comic Book Central, right? So
yes,
there are some UK comics that were Knight Rider comics where April is actually in the. Do you know that? Did they told you about that, or did you get any of those? Okay, I didn't know if you've seen any of this.
No, I haven't.
All right, you're in the comics. They're UK. I don't have them. I got a lot of stuff, but I don't have the UK
well,
one.
I have a lot of UK friends. I need to hold them to that and say, okay, I want to see those.
So they're the UK annuals, and then there's I'm just drawing a blank on the name of the magazine, but they used to do like every month, and it was like they'd have American TV shows, Charlie's Angels, Starsky and Hutch, a bunch of different things that they would do comic book versions of it. And Knight Rider was in a bunch of them. So yeah, fire up your UK fans and get some of those.
Hey.
You mentioned you joined Knight Rider in its second season, April Curtis. Did you know, like, had you watched the first season? Like, did you know you were replacing Patricia McPherson?
I really didn't know much about it at all.
Okay.
They gave me some scenes to read, and I went in,
Agent calls you out of the blue, right? Is that just, okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So you go in and then what?
They wanted to see the chemistry between David and me. And so they had us read a scene together, and we had a great time. And then we were just cutting up and laughing, all the producers in a room, maybe, I don't know how many were there, 3 or 4. And then they asked me about what could I do to look less glamorous, and I pulled out my glasses. And before I got home, we didn't have cell phones then. So before I got home, my agent had already called and left a message for me that they want you on the show, and that was that. And
But you knew it was season 2 of a show.
I guess I did. I don't.
You were so busy at the time. That cracks me up. Like,
well, and I traveled a lot too. So
okay, so you're just killing it. It's just like you're going in. It's a gig. I'm gonna do this, and you're just working. That's so mind blowing to me. All these years later, to realize that, because I would have thought you'd be going in and be like, oh my, it's like a talking car and this thing, and I'm replacing this other actress, and how are the fans, and you had no idea.
I don't recall that at all.
Okay.
What I do remember, the very first scene that I shot.
Yeah.
It wasn't the first one that aired. It's not even the same episode that aired. That they aired a different one first. But the first scene, they took me to a location, and we were on the beach, and they gave me my wardrobe, and there were these tiny little pink shorts. And I thought, oh, I have to walk out there and meet all these people for the first time in these tiny little pink shorts.
Oh.
I remember that. But it was a cute scene.
Yeah.
Where I'm giving KITT his water wings, and he calls me motherly.
Okay, yes, because I again, inside baseball, I cheat. I watched the 4Ks. I went back and watched everything. Yeah, so it's like a few episodes in. And KITT gets he can float on water because you tricked him out. But there is a scene where you come out where you're kind of like into Daisy Dukes and the whole thing, and it's like that's what makes the intro of the show open. Like that's your go figure. You and Daisy Dukes and go figure. But your actual first episode that airs, because this is what I wanted to ask you about. But again, I think you've already answered it. You're not going to know the answer to this question. You don't like, it's the classic Goliath. It's evil. It's evil Hoff. It's because back in the day, like if you did an evil, like Spock always had to have like a mustache and a little beard. Right. So that was the trope. Evil Hoff and evil KITT. He was a big black truck. Yes. So the Hoff's playing like two roles.
Car and yeah.
So you go into this and you're not like, you don't get any of that. Like, this is evil Michael Knight. This is a trope. This is a big episode. It's a two-part, or it became a two-parter, but it was like a 2-hour movie to premiere.
Yeah,
You didn't know any of that when you were shooting it, right?
Well, I mean, I read the script, so I knew it was good versus evil. I knew it was the good guys and the bad guys.
Okay.
And
but you didn't know how big this was. Like, this is like the classic.
How big it, no, I didn't, how big the show was going to be with that this is the big 2-hour movie and the fans are going crazy over it. No, of course not. No.
Yeah, because now you know. Now you know.
Now I know, but of course I didn't know then. And I remember Barbara Rush was one of those classic actresses that she played Darth's mother. And I just was so enamored with her. She was a beautiful woman. And, you know, she had a career back in, you know, the Hollywood heyday.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you're like, but okay, so you're going up again. I'm sorry, I'm sort of fanboying out again, but I'm going to tune that down a little bit. But it's like, you're working with the Hoff. You knew the Hoff, right? You knew it was David Hasselhoff. Okay, that's a pretty big thing. But then you get to work with the Hoff, like, in a different character. Is Garth. And I forget which episode. Oh, I think it's the second one. I think it's the sequel, Goliath Returns. You get to smack him in the face.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So
we had fun. I mean,
what was it like working with Hoff as Michael Knight and then as Garth Knight, evil
well,
Garth Knight?
You know, it's the same thing when you're working. I know this person, the character, as their real life person, the actor. Right. And so you suspend that reality and you go into that world, and that's what it was. So I had to do double duty on that show because not only was David Hasselhoff not the character he was playing, he was, you know, David, and then he's Michael Knight, but then now he's not just Michael Knight, but now he's Garth. So but each situation you go into it, that's is your reality for that moment.
What was he like though?
And more than thinking about how big is this show going to be and wow, this is a tour. My focus is never on that stuff. My focus is who am I in the scene? What am I doing? What is my intent? And go there.
I know. I keep picturing, because here's the weird thing. Okay, here's the reality, that your reality is the reality. But for us fans, at least for me, like, I'm seeing you like reading a script going, "Ooh, evil twin episode. Ooh, I get it." And you're just like, another day. I took my work very seriously. Yeah. No, I don't mean that. But
I wanted. So my focus was, Rebecca needs to go in there and do her job well.
Yeah.
And so the other things disappear with what I have to do.
Man, you did it well.
Now we're having fun all these years talking about it and how big the show was, and people love those 2-hour movies, and it's terrific. But that's what I love. Unless I did my job that day, it wouldn't be what it is now.
You know, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. We might not be talking about these episodes had you all not locked and loaded so early. What was the Hoff like as Michael Knight, and then compared to Garth? Like, when he was doing the two, like, just what was the Hoff like? Just what was it like working with Hoff? Is he a cool dude?
Oh yes, I love David. I really love David. And he always did a lot for kids, you know, and the kids' charities. And I always admired him for that, because I know how busy he was during those years. But he always made the time. And I will always speak highly of him for that.
That documentary shows that too.
And he was in his element. He was in his element playing the Knight Rider. Who else could have been the Knight Rider? No. Michael Knight was David Hasselhoff. David is bigger than life. Everything is bigger than life. And he made him the beloved character that the fans still love today.
Yeah, literally, like 6'5", 6'4", whatever he is, and the giant belt buckle and the shirt and the, you know, the chest hair. And I mean, that's a superhero. I know. And the documentary talks about how much, like, I think he gave the Knight Rider jacket to like a kid, and just watch the documentary.
And he wanted to be buried in it. Yes, it's very moving.
Oh, get the 4K and watch it.
But when I say that David took his job seriously, he worked with Jack Gill to get really good at the stunt driving too. Yeah. I mean, Jack performed superhuman things on that show, and no matter what they asked him to do, he somehow managed to pull it off. Sometimes he had hesitance, about whether this was safe or whether it was possible, but somehow he made it work. And David really worked with Jack, and Jack worked hard with him so that the cuts would be smooth and believable.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, because I'm doing a rewatch now, and it's just I'm like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
And then you watch a documentary, and then you're like, you saw how they do it, but you still don't know how they did it, because it's just ridiculous what they were doing. You got to, I think, if I'm correct, I think you got to drive KITT once.
Yes, I did. I did.
Okay. I know.
Got to do that.
No. Here's the fanboy question again. It's like, in the moment, because you had been filming, I think, a little bit at that point, you probably got the magnitude at that point of, well, this ain't happening to every actress.
Well, when you make the cover of TV Guide, you go, well, I guess the show's doing well. We didn't know all the fan clubs all over the world at that point, of course.
Right.
That was later, but you know how it's doing in the ratings, so it's doing well. But yes, driving KITT. In fact, that day when I say my focus is on my work, I didn't let myself think about. It would have made me nervous. So I was focusing on driving a car on set and hitting the mark is different than driving a car. So I was listening for action and cut. But when he finally yelled cut and it was done, it was a one take, and I went, well, that's good.
Oh, one take, nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I was watching it, and I was watching you're so focused when you're watching the scene, and then you come up and stop perfectly right at the camera. I'm like, oh, I know how hard that is. Did you ever meet William Daniels?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But he was never on the set with us. Never.
Right, voice of KITT, right.
We had the script girl sitting on a stool, looking down at her big fat script, reading his lines in a monotone, But Bill has made KITT so personable that, in my mind, he was real. You heard Bill's voice. Even as she was reading in this monotone, you would hear Bill's voice in your mind. And you know how you're going to react and have a conversation and reply to his lines.
The great Edward Mulhare.
Edward.
Oh, but no, you were saying about William Daniels. Go ahead.
Yes, but he had the best job in Hollywood. He didn't have to go through hair and wardrobe and makeup and any of that stuff. He could come in his shorts, show up for a half hour, run all the lines in the looping stage, and be gone. So,
how long were you in makeup with that hair?
Oh, I usually got to the set about 5:30 or 6.
Wow. Because I think next to Farrah, I would say you, right? The hair.
Thank you.
The most iconic hair in Hollywood history. It's just, it's like it's a character of its own. Kind of, the Hoff kind of has it. His hair is kind of a character too.
I'm sure our hairstylist would like to hear you say that.
Yeah,
they were great guys. We always had a lot of fun in the makeup trailer. And David's hair, Alan Payne was our hairstylist, and Jeremy was our makeup artist. But Alan would just spritz David's hair with water and kind of do like this, and it would kind of curl and shape.
That's it. Oh yeah, because he had the Hoff hair, like it was huge. Yeah. Man, that's good. Edward Mulhare, the great Edward Mulhare. Any stories?
Oh, I loved Edward.
Because you worked with him mostly, I think, because you guys were kind of always like the M and Q giving Bond his assignment, right? Like it was kind of that thing.
And he had a lot of the expository dialogue, and so he would have these long speeches, and he'd sometimes, Edward was so sophisticated and just perfection as a gentleman, and then he would get to the end, and then he would mess up a line or something, and then he'd go into this little fit and curse, and it was always comical because it was so out of character.
But you had the techno babble, like you had to do the techno. They call it, like I know, Star Trek actors.
Words. made up
Right.
words that don't exist in the English language. And all those gadgets didn't exist. And so sometimes I would learn all my made up words and I would have my dialogue ready to go and I'd be in the makeup trailer and they will hand me all new pages because maybe the prop guy wasn't able to bring that reality that or whatever the script guy had written, whatever the writer had written and envisioned in his mind, they couldn't make it come to life. They couldn't find a gadget or couldn't make the gadget do that. So they had to come up with something completely different at the last minute. And here you go, April, all new lines. But I was a quick study, fortunately. So.
Did you ever ad lib anything? Anything cool? Did you ever ad lib?
I think that when you're on a series as a regular, you come to know your character. You know who that character is. You know the relationship between you and the other characters. David and I knew how we would kind of spar or tease or whatever and bring humor into it. The writers are changing constantly because no one writer could write that many episodes. I mean, we know that Glenn was very prolific, but there were many different writers, just like there were many different directors. So sometimes if the lines just didn't feel like the way she would say it, I would make it my own.
That's so cool.
But keeping the essence and the meaning of the line.
Right. Yeah. Because, I mean, basically, you're Q. I mean, I don't know if you know Bond movies, but like Q gives him the gadgets and it keeps him going in that. At what point, like, because Patricia came back season 3 and you didn't. So sorry about that. But I mean, we get season 2. But was there any point in season 2 you're like, uh-oh, something's amiss? Something's going on? Or were you just so busy it was like, all right, whatever?
No, I was very, very busy, and my management at the time, they were getting some very lucrative offers from overseas.
Okay.
And management tends sometimes to follow the money rather than maybe the career direction of the actress. Even though sometimes the actress doesn't see it.
Yeah.
In the long run. But I was young. I was a good girl. I followed directions and I sort of did what I was told,
Yeah.
So today, as we grow and we come into our own and we become more mature, we also become more independent and make our own decisions. And I probably would have made different decisions today.
Yeah. And season 3 would have been yours. Or you could have like 2, like you both could have been working.
That would have been fun.
Yeah. That would have been really cool. Because there would have been like a really cool dynamic, like maybe a sisterhood there. Now I'm thinking like that'd be a really cool sequel to Knight Rider. Have you ever met Patricia?
I think I was invited to a screening when I was first coming onto the show. Maybe I had been cast, but I hadn't worked yet. And there was some kind of a screening where we all were. And I think I met her then, if I recall. I think I met her then, but I've never seen her again or any of the events ever.
Okay. What would you say to her? Like, if you how do you think that would go? Like, so it's like Knight Rider convention and we're like, and here's Rebecca and here's Patricia and they're both here. Like, how would that go?
I would love to meet her. I would love to. I have wonderful girl friendships. And I love it that women support each other. Yeah. And I think we would have fun reminiscing and enjoying our memories from the show. And I think it would be wonderful. I would welcome it.
That would be so cool if they do another Knight Rider and you guys are both there working on KITT. That would be.
I think that's a terrific idea.
I like it. I'll only take 10%.
I like it too, Joe.
Favorite memories of filming? Like, do you have a favorite memory? It could be in front of the camera. It could be behind the camera. It could be guest star maybe. Like, there's a ton of guest stars. Everybody's on the show. Anything?
I just remember what fun we had, and I remember there were certain times, and all of us were professionals. All of us know that time is money. All of us know you don't mess around because you got to get those, setups in. But there were some times when we would be laughing so hard and we'd try to do another take and keep it serious, and we'd start, and then David would start laughing, and then we'd all be just that laughter that you just cannot hold in. And we would try for another take, everybody'd get serious, and it would happen again. And I mean, those are just fun times that will never be again.
I want to close out with what you've got going on now. You released singles like "The Truth Doesn't Always Rhyme" and "License to Steal."
Oh, those were a long time ago.
Right, and your song "Dreams Come True" that's become like a huge wedding song, right?
Yes, it has. #1 wedding song on YouTube.
Can you talk about your journey of your music and that song's particular impact? Because that thing is huge.
Yeah, like 50, 70 million hits, I think, on it, views on it now.
Wow.
It's based on the Pachelbel canon, the classical piece, but the lyrics are put to it, and it is a duet, and it's a beautiful song. I sing at a lot of the charity events, and it's a very inspirational song. We even did a club version, the dance up-tempo one, so that really gets people going when I perform live, and I love performing live. Music, there is no version of the arts to me that can take you to a higher place than music. And when you think about it, even in any kind of an acting piece, film or television, if you've ever seen things cut together before the music has been laid in, you know that music enhances the feeling in that scene, whether it's horror, whether it's fear, whether it's action, whether it's anger, whether it's love, whether it's sorrow, whatever the emotion is, the music takes it to a higher level. And music is just so special. That's why I love performing live. I speak at a lot of things. Anybody can always call me and ask. I love to speak. I just spoke. I was a guest speaker at the California Investment Forum. They just wanted me to share my life and inspirational stories, and sometimes I mix it with music and sing. So I love doing those kind of things and interacting with the people there and meeting new people.
And the charity work, you mentioned the charity work. See if I could, so Operation California, it's what is it? Operation USA now, Operation Texas, Live Aid. You've been involved in so many different things. What is it about that makes you passionate about becoming involved in these charitable missions?
Well, the theme of Night Rider is one person can make a difference.
Yeah.
And I believe that's true. And I think we start with our own circle of friends. If you can live every day as an example and try to do the right thing and try to do the right thing by others and make a difference in the people's lives around you, then you set the tone for them to do the same. You inspire them to go out, and then they make a difference in the lives of the people around them. And it becomes sort of like a ripple effect, and it gets to be a pretty nice place, this whole world. But I said earlier, I think my life has been a gift. I've been given so many wonderful experiences and friendships, and that's very special. And it is an obligation to give back.
RebeccaHolden.com, that's the website.
Mm-hmm.
So everything we need to know is about you out there. Anything
yes, and you can contact me. Yes,
right.
Lots of videos. I sing the national anthem anytime I'm asked. I'm a true patriot, so I love singing our national song, whether it's at charity events or whether it's at sporting events or what have you. So people can just come to my website and contact me, and maybe I'll see you in person soon.
And you're still acting? You're still doing acting?
Yeah.
And you're still performing? You mentioned the music performance. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, the acting.
I've done some recent films for which my work was recognized as best actress at the film festivals. I played a gospel singer and evangelist in Canaan Land. I just did a Western with Robert Carradine and Darby Hinton from the old Daniel Boone show, and Johnny Cash's son, John Carter Cash, the son he had with June, we played our bad guy. And we won, I think, a dozen awards at the big Western Film Festival called the Wild Bunch, and I got Best Actress. So I continue to work, and I was just in a very special film. We won the Humanitarian Award and Best Director and Best Actress for a Vietnamese film that tells the stories of many of the boat people and the tragedies that they suffered. And it's a story that needs to be told. Future generations need to know our history. I think it's only by knowing our past that we can make the future better. So it's a beautiful film. Now it's going to be taking a tour all around the world. So
I was going to say, can we go to the news section on your website? Like, is that find out how to see it, or is that
my
or on
website
social media?
is in the process of being updated, but
okay.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to
social media. You'll post those on social media. How to see those upcoming projects.
Oh yes,
and then
if you go to my Facebook page, you can find a lot of past posts about things.
Okay, and then upcoming performances or appearances. You got
yes, yes. I'm performing next month at a big charity event right here in Santa Monica. The director of Oppenheimer. His mother is actually the head of the charity, and they've asked me to perform for that. As I said, I'll be at Vibratos, and then there'll be lots more autograph shows and things like that. But you can find those also on my Facebook and the website.
Man. Yeah, I don't know how you do it. You're keeping busy, and it's just like you're staying younger than all of us. I guess that's it. That's the key, right? Stay busy.
Well, it's not work when you love what you do. So
that's that comes through in everything you do. Thank you so much for these roles over the years. Thank you for pouring everything you have into it. Thank you for joining me today too on Comic Book Central.
It's been a privilege. Thank you, Joe.